JBN will keep you informed. Coming up in the news, St. James cabby shot dead while washing his vehicle. St. James police seek help to apprehend a man wanted for double murder. 23-year-old St. James man dies in motorcar crash. More underutilized state assets to be divested, says Holness. Laborer killed in Chester Castle. And Mike Shields questions whether motorcycles should be banned. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, leave us a comment and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items. St. James cabby shot dead while washing his vehicle. The St. James police are investigating the murder of a taxi operator who was shot dead by unknown assailants as he washed his cab in his community on Tuesday night. The deceased has been identified as 33-year-old Clive Brown, otherwise called Big Pants, of Bottom Road, Norwood in St. James. Reports from the Montego Bay police are that about 7:40 p.m., Brown was washing his motorcar when he was pounced upon by unknown men who opened gunfire at him, hitting him to the upper body. The police were summoned, and on their arrival, Brown was seen lying on the road with several gunshot wounds in a pool of blood. He was taken to the Cornwall Regional Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. The killing of Brown raised the murder figure in the parish to 43 since the start of the year. Recently, concerns have been raised by stakeholders in St. James that since the lifting of the state of emergency SOE in the parish in January, murders there have been trending upwards. The SOE was credited with stemming the bloodshed in the parish over a one-year period. But the initiative, which needed a 2/3 majority support in the House of Representatives, was discontinued after the opposition People's National Party (PNP), citing human rights abuses, withdrew its continued support. St. James police seek help apprehending man wanted for double murder. The St. James police has released the name of a man they say is wanted in connection with a double murder committed in the parish last month. He is Everett Stevenson, 30, otherwise called Eva, of Rose Heights in St. James. The police say Stevenson is wanted for murder arising from a shooting incident in the Rose Heights community on March 28, in which construction workers Dwayne Stennett and Shane Williams were killed. Stennett and Williams were among 5 persons shot by gunmen, according to police reports. Stevens is of dark complexion, stout-built, and about 5 feet tall. In the meantime, the police are reminding citizens that it is an offense to harbor criminals and provide a safe haven. In addition, the police say shielding criminals places the lives of family and friends at increased risk of attack. They are appealing to Stevenson to turn himself into the Montego Bay police by midday today. Additionally, the police are asking anyone who can help them locate him to contact investigators at 876-953-6191. That's 876-953-6191. Crime Stop at 311. Police Emergency Number 119 or the nearest police station. 23-year-old St. James man dies in motorcar crash. 23-year-old Travoy James of Cambridge, St. James, died from injuries he sustained in a motor vehicle crash, while another man was injured in the incident on the Rose Hall main road in the parish yesterday, Saturday, April 13. Reports from the Barryton police are that James was driving a Toyota motorcar about 3:45 a.m. with a passenger aboard heading towards Montego Bay. On reaching a section of the roadway, he allegedly lost control of the vehicle, crashed into a utility pole, and overturned. Both men sustained multiple injuries and were taken to the hospital, where James was pronounced dead and the other man admitted in stable condition. More underutilized state assets to be divested, says Holness. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says that the government intends to divest more underutilized state-owned assets. Holness said that the objective is to create greater space for spending on hospitals, schools, roads, national security, infrastructure and housing, pay down debt, among other things. The strategy of the Jamaican government is, you are only stronger when you have more fiscal space. So we are looking now right across the length and breadth of the country at all the assets that the government owns. Those that are underutilized, those that are not making a profit, and those that are profitable. We're going to place those assets in the hands of the private sector, he said. The Prime Minister was speaking at Wington Wind Farm Limited's initial public offering investor briefing held at the Montego Bay Convention Centre in Rosehall, St. James on Friday. Jamaicans will have the opportunity to purchase shares in Wington when the IPO opens on April 17 and closes on May 1. A total of 11 billion shares at 50 cents each are being offered, with 2.2 billion shares reserved for public sector workers. The government is seeking to raise $5.5 billion from the sale. Owners noted that the IPO gives average Jamaicans the opportunity to gain the gift of ownership by purchasing Wington stocks. We are doing this in such a way because we believe that the average Jamaican must participate in the ownership of the assets, because this makes Jamaica stronger, so we are making the asset affordable, he said. Minister of Finance, Energy and Technology, Fable Williams, in emphasizing the affordability of the stock, noted that the entry price is $1,000 or 2,000 shares. In other IPOs, ordinary Jamaicans would have to come up with a minimum of $5,000 or $10,000 to get in, she pointed out. A subsidiary of the Petroleum Corporation of Jamaica, Wigton Wind Farm is the largest wind energy facility in the English-speaking Caribbean and was built by the government to aid in the diversification of Jamaica's energy mix. Laborer killed in Chester Castle. One man was shot and killed by unknown assailants in Chester Castle in Hanover on Wednesday night, April 10. The deceased has been identified as 37-year-old Keegan Wilson, a laborer of Lantop, also in Chester Castle. Reports by the Ramble Police are that about 11:30 p.m. on Wednesday, residents living at Lantop in Chester Castle contacted the police after hearing loud explosions, which sounded like gunshots being fired in the area. The police responded to the call, and upon their arrival to a section of the community, Wilson was discovered lying along the roadway in a pool of blood, with multiple gunshot wounds to his body. The victim was transported to the hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Mark Shields questioned whether motorcycles should be banned. Former Deputy Commissioner of Police Mark Shields is urging the authorities to take tough action to rein in fatalities from motorcycle crashes and acts of criminality carried out by persons who operate motorcycles. Shields raised the issue in a question to his Twitter followers earlier this week when he stated, "The use of motorcycles to commit murder and robbery is commonplace." He asked the question, with 30 motorcyclists killed this year and constant examples of them breaking every traffic law in the book, is it time to ban bikes short term, reissue a license through vetting and proper ID plates for bikes? When contacted for him to elaborate, the security consultant noted that motorcycles are frequently used in both contract killings and in robberies that particularly occur around banks. They also feature in handbag and cell phone snatching, he said. The other problem, of course, is the fact that so many young men, particularly, are being killed every year on motorcycles, and they do pose a serious threat to other road users and members of the public. That is already reflected in the figures this year, where we are actually way ahead of where we were last year in terms of fatalities caused by traffic crashes, Shields said. He continued, "The question I've been asking is, what should we do about it? Should it be as radical as a ban on bikes, or should it be that the government should make some interim measure to make it almost instantly impossible for someone who does not hold a full license to actually ride a motorcycle, or if indeed they break the law by not wearing a crash helmet, or driving with a pillion passenger without a crash helmet, that they will immediately lose their motorcycle," Shields said. The former DCP admitted that taking such steps could be problematic, but he warned that if we leave it as the status quo, nothing will happen. He recounted that just this Thursday morning, he saw two young men on a motorcycle, both of them without crash helmets, one holding a weed walk on the back of the bike, go straight through the red light on Holdope Road. Shields said it was noteworthy that the men drove right past the policeman who was on duty and who witnessed the whole thing. So clearly, there's a problem with enforcement as well, and I think that we do have to instill on the officers and all of the other partners that this is a major problem that we need to tackle, both in terms of the motorcycle injuries that are caused by crashes, but then of course, we don't talk about the non-fatal life-changing injuries that many motorcyclists will have, such as head injuries. It is a major problem that I think we'll have to tackle urgently, which is why I raised it on social media for discussion purposes. A recommendation for the Road Safety Unit, RSU, is for the regulations that will govern the new Road Traffic Act make it mandatory for the seller of the motorcycle to ensure that a helmet is sold alongside the motorcycles. According to Shields, while this is a welcome development, there is no way to ensure that the drivers of motorcycles wear the helmet once the vehicle is purchased. It's a positive move, but the fact is that as soon as you have bought the motorcycle with the helmet, there is no guarantee that the person will wear the helmet afterward, and so immediately the problem is there. He said what needs to be done is for the authorities to move swiftly to conduct the promised public education campaign around the new Road Traffic Act, and for the government to swiftly bring the regulations that will give the legislation teeth to the Parliament for approval. Shields acknowledged the efforts of persons or entities that are currently trying to educate young men on the proper use of a motorcycle and the need to wear protective gear while driving sensibly. Not doing wheelies at 75 kilometers per hour down the highway, as they are at the moment, and committing all sorts of other aerobatics almost with their motorcycles is a major problem, and yes, legislation will help, Shields said. While his Twitter post said 30 motorcyclists have been killed since the start of the year, figures released by the RSU Thursday indicate that the number has jumped to 38, 3 in the past 3 days. Motorcyclists now make up 31% of the 116 people killed in traffic crashes since the start of the year. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.